the next thing I want to do, if I look at the page, obviously one big difference is that it's centered. So going back here, I need to do my CSS code for centering text. And if I didn't know how to do this, it'd be a pretty easy Google search just to search CSS center text, and it would show me how. I have it memorized, so I'll just do text align :center. Notice that I have two CSS rules right here. I've got a CSS rule for my background color, and I've got a CSS rule for my alignment. They're separated by the semicolon. That's very important. If you want to apply multiple rules to the same element, in this case the whole body, I need to separate them each with a semicolon. So text align is it's really the property name, or basically the CSS property name, and here's the CSS value for that, center. If I save it and I refresh my page, it's centered everything. Okay, looking back here, we notice that now I want the text white. So how do I get this, in particular this heading, how do I get it to be white? Well, since it's only going to apply to the heading, I'll go inside the heading tag, and now I need to give it a style attribute just like I did up here. Style equals, and then in quotes is where I'll put my CSS properties and values. So let's start with font dash size, and if I didn't know that code, I'd have to go look it up. I might do a Google search for something like CSS increase size or font size, and it would lead me to that property. Now there's many ways of specifying font size in CSS. The easiest and the one I'm going to stick to for now is a percentage. And excuse me, I got off track. I was going to do font color. Okay, and the color is just the word color. And I'll do font size next. Color, and for now I'll just type white because that's really what I want it to be. Refresh my page, and it's white. Okay, but color white, now let's increase the size because it needs to be bigger. So font size, and pay attention, I put that semicolon in right there, colon, and 200%. This is just going to make that font twice as big as it was before. Refresh my page, and it doesn't look like any change has taken place, but before we give up on the percentage, let's try a bigger percentage. 400. Oops. And if I reload my page, it is getting bigger. Now, is that big enough? Let's look at the other page. It looks like it's pretty close to big enough. I'll leave it for now. Okay. Next thing I think you can notice as we go in between these two pages, so this is the original, this is mine so far, I need to change the style of the font, and I could play around with the font styles. I'm going to just go straight to the one it is, and the font style is Arial, and when I specify this, it's actually called font-family, and I'm going to type Arial. If I refresh my page, there you go. You can see that it looks now the same. Going back to gedit, I can see that I need to do a few more things. I've already specified the style for the H1. I've done the style stuff for the body, but let's see what I need to do for this paragraph. So looking back at the original, you can notice that this is in italics, and it's also a shade of gray. So I need to accomplish both of those things over here. Going back to gedit, inside of the paragraph tag, I'm going to type style equals, and then I'm going to do, in my quotes, let's do the color first. So color, and I'm going to use that color schemer again to find a more exact color. So let's head back and try to get a gray. So over here, those are some really light colors. Here are some grays. That looks pretty accurate. Let's just try it out and see what happens. Copy it, go to gedit. After the colon, I need a pound sign, and then I need to paste in the code. I will save my page, and I'm just using a keyboard shortcut for that. Refresh my page, and you can see that it actually updated the color, and that looks pretty close. I'm going to leave it for now. I don't know that I'll get much closer. So back to gedit. Again, the next thing I need to do is my italics. So if I want to add an extra rule to the paragraph, I do a semicolon, and now I'm ready to type in my italics. So this one, I just want to show you how to look things up. For example, let's say I don't know how to do CSS italics, so I'm going to search it, CSS italics. One of the first websites that almost always pops up is this W3 Schools website, and it's pretty good for finding little things like this. So in this case, it's showing me the code right here. Now it's showing me it to me in a little different manner than I'm used to. It's doing embedded CSS, which I haven't done yet, and which we haven't done yet. But let's just pick out right here. This is the part we want. Notice it's got its property and it's got the value italic. So let's just copy this. Going into gedit, paste, font style, colon, italic. Save the page, refresh your page, and it looks italic now. If I go back between these two, I think one thing we can notice is the font family is different, and also the font size is a little bit different. Let's try to change the font family first. This, I think, looks pretty close to Arial, so let's give it a try. Notice that I specified the font family inside of the H1 tag. But if I wanted that font to apply to all of my elements in the body, I could just put it in the body tag. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut this out of here, and I'm going to paste it in up here. Make sure I insert a semicolon because I'm adding an extra rule. And there it is. If I save this now and I go back here, refresh, you'll notice that it did change the font. So now both this and this have the same font being applied to them. Looking pretty close. It also looks like it might be bold. This text looks a bit more bold. So let's try that as well. The property for bold, I don't know it, so I need to look it up. CSS bold. Okay, the CSS font weight property. And if I'm at the same website here, the W3 Schools, so font weight bold. That looks like what I want. I'm going to copy this code, go into gedit, and paste it. Save, refresh, and that looks pretty much exact. As my picture loads, there it is. Okay, these two pages look very, very much the same. The only big difference I see is the background color, and I could play around, using Color Schemer or another website to try to get that color exact. Obviously, I could cheat and view the source here to see exactly what it was, but I'm not going to do that for now. Looking back at my code for this page I just made, notice that I kept everything nice and neat. I have a paragraph tag, I've got my heading tag, and I've got my IMG tag for my image tag, and that's really it. Inside of each of these tags, I added style. Okay, this is with the style attribute. Style equals, style equals, style equals. And then inside of these attributes, which use the quotation marks to say this is where all of the rules are contained, inside the quotation marks. Then I have rules, which are composed of properties and values, and then each rule is separated by a semicolon. So in this case, my body has 3 rules applied to it: one for background color, one for the alignment, and one for the font family.